Welcome to the quiet and obscure little corner of YouTube called Brother Owl's Garden. I'm Brian and I honor your presence here today. As I approach my late 20s, there's some realizations I've had about my life, and I think that many of you will relate to most of these. There comes a point in your life as you get older that you're just done with things. For example, once you hit your late 20s, early 30s, you're really done going to nightclubs. It's over. You've really had enough. Somewhere along that same time, you realize that camping is generally awful. You don't want to go sleep on the cold, wet, hard, rocky ground. Your bed is actually really great. I love the outdoors. I'm just saying what camping usually ends up being is not something you want to do a whole lot of. You kind of just tend to outgrow things. You come to a point where you have had enough. And some of this is spiritual and some of it is just quite practical and matter of fact. But what I wanted to share with you is a list that I've compiled recently, as this has been on my mind, a list of things that I'm done with. I don't do anymore. Now, disclaimer, I cannot say that I never do any of these ever 100% perfect, perfect withdrawal. No, there are some that I would say I'm truly over it, and there's others that I say, well, it's one that I'm still working on and I'm determined to be over it. So many of these are very hard won. Some of them you may agree with wholeheartedly. Some of them you may not agree with, and it's all okay because I don't need the agreement. But some of them might be food for thought. You might realize, gee, that's something that I am ready to be done with in my life too. And maybe I'll make a list. So I'm just sharing this personal list with you today. The first one was very, very painfully earned, to be very honest with you. I earned it, and I earned it through tremendous suffering. And maybe some of you will relate. And the first one is caring what anyone thinks or says about me. I can say that I've earned my liberation from this one, and it's wonderful. Now, I'm not saying that I'm 0% affected ever by anything I ever hear or am told or whatever. We're human. But compared to, several years ago where I am now, yeah, I'm done with it. If somebody wants to, talk negatively or spread gossip and rumors, go ahead. Matter of fact, embellish it and add to it whatever you like before you pass it on. Don't care. I'm free of it. I'm beyond it. The next one is really hard for me personally because I tend to have an intellectual bent, which, the more spiritually awakened and centered one becomes, the more you realize that that is not an asset, that is an obstacle or an interference. And it's also connected to ego and fear, and that is the need to be right. The need to be right. I will admit that there was a time in my life, a long time in my life, when I would say, yeah, I that was probably an issue for me. But I don't need to be right. At least I can say anymore. It's okay if I'm wrong. It's okay if I don't know. If I don't know, I will ask, what does that mean? What is that? Can you explain that to me? I've never heard that term. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought it was something different. Now I know. I am correctable. I am teachable. I don't need to be right. It's okay to be wrong. I'm not ruffled by it. But I will balance this or clarify this by saying that I do need to be sincere and true and authentic and accurate to the very best of my ability. But that's different than needing to be right. That's somebody who will keep arguing until they beat you into the ground and I win. I'm right. Because I wore the other person out, or I made them give up and surrender to my belief, my view. No, I don't need that. So the third one, I don't question my intuition. I don't doubt my intuition. This one took many years of regretted situations where, head slap. Um, I don't question it anymore. If I get a hit or a download or an epiphany or an intuitional warning or something like that, I just flow with it. I do not get in the way. I trust my intuition. So the third thing I don't do anymore is question or doubt my intuition. The fourth thing is allow others to torment me in my own mind. You talk about somebody who drives you crazy or afflicts you in some way, living rent-free in your head. Nah, no vacancy. Eviction, out. Here's an interesting one. I don't explain myself unnecessarily. Can't be bothered. People who know me and love me, they don't require an explanation from me in the first place, and those from the opposite camp wouldn't accept it or believe it anyway. So, no need. It's okay. I don't explain myself unnecessarily. Don't need to. Can't be bothered. I don't require myself to know why as much as I used to. There was a time when, I would have dug through all kinds of topics and information trying to find out the why. I remember I drove my astronomy professor insane with cosmology questions because I needed to know why. But not so much anymore. I'm not perfect with this one, but I'm a lot better. Don't need it anymore. Just to know that it is, and what do you do about it? How do you process through it? I don't need to understand the science of the internal combustion engine. I just need to know how to drive the car. Okay? So, another one, and I did an episode on this, which may or may not have posted yet. Don't remember the order. I don't require validation. I don't require other people to validate me. I don't require my own validation from myself. I don't require to be valid because I know there's no issue in the first place of validity. That's a phantom specter, a projection of our sense of inadequacy and unworthiness. It's not even an issue. I'm done. Don't need to be valid. Don't need your validation. Don't need my ticket stamped. Don't even need me to stamp it. Don't even need a stamp to exist. There is no stamp. Don't need it. I'm fine. I also don't require approval or agreement or understanding. I'll put those together. I don't need someone's approval. Sure, it feels nice when you have it because, then there's agreement and there's affirmation and all that. It does feel a little better. It's easier. But I don't need it. Don't need agreement. You don't have to agree with me. I know that many of my viewers may not agree with everything that is said from me or even my guests in every video. That's fine. We're here talking. It's okay to not agree with the things we're discussing. It's fine. And you may come later to disagree, or you may come later to agree. Also, by the way, as our understandings evolve, and so have mine. I don't require understanding. It's okay if two people can't understand each other. They're just so different on different wavelengths, different frequencies, different backgrounds, different everything, that they just can't connect, can't relate. Okay, that's okay. We don't have to. You don't have to understand how I am the way I am, why I am the way I am, what makes me tick. You don't have to understand it. I'm not even claiming that I do. And I also, likewise, don't have to understand how you are you and what makes you you if I can't. A lot of times we can, but when we can't, okay, we can't. There's no connection here. Wish you bliss. Move on. Here's one. Now, I'm not going to explain why I've reached this one, except to tell you that I have earned it. No more extremely hard physical labor and toiling. Nope, I've done enough. I'm done. That's it. So if it's extremely difficult, very hard, I mean, I do stonework and things like that. I mean, but if it's really excruciating, physical, hard, nope, not doing it. I've reached a point in my life where I have fulfilled my quota to my satisfaction. I'm done. I don't do it anymore. Here's one that is all about self-care. Now, I'm not talking about overindulgence and lethargy and sloth and all that kind of stuff. But here it is. I don't give up sleep anymore. Nope, I don't give up sleep anymore. When my body is tired, I sleep. When my body awakens, I get up. There's a general, usual time of the night and day that happens. And it's pretty normal. But I don't care what it is. When I need to sleep, I sleep. When my body says I must sleep, I sleep. When my body says I've had enough sleep now, I wake up. Even though my cats might wake me up 8 times before that. What I mean is I'll get up. So, no, I will not give up sleep to the best of my ability. There are exceptions always, of course. But that's all about self-care. Sleep is crucial. Some people need 5 hours. Some people need 9. You know what you need. Get it. Here's one that's probably the easiest one to identify about not doing anymore in your life. Allowing toxic people in. Toxic, harmful, dangerous, poisonous type energy people, or abusive, whatever it might be that makes them toxic. Nope, you're not welcome. I don't mean someone who disagrees with me or has a different political belief than me or a different whatever than me. I don't mean that, because that's bigotry. But what I mean is, if you are a toxic, negative, harmful, detrimental person energetically and psychically in my presence and to me, then no, you're not allowed in. And no, I'm not sorry. Bye-bye. Wish you bliss, but you're not welcome. Leave. And that's self-care. And sometimes that's hard to do. And usually it's harder to not do. Here's one that might make me seem like I'm being a little bit grumpy, which sometimes I am, a little bit bitter or something. I can't be bothered to engage in small talk and chit-chat anymore. I just can't be bothered. I don't care. I'm not interested in peripheral minutia. I'm just not interested. Can't be bothered. It's got to be substantial, meaningful, useful, helpful, intriguing, transfiguring. It doesn't have to be incredibly amazing, but it's got to be worth talking about. Or the silence is much better. The peace is much better. I don't need the chit-chat. Here's one that I hope everybody can adapt to, and I should say adopt into your life. I don't chase after anyone or anything, and if I feel that a chase is happening, I will withdraw, guaranteed. If I'm being led to chase, you can be sure that I've cut the rope and I'm not chasing, not even following. So I don't chase after anyone or anything. Remember the backwards law. Anyway, the more you chase after and grasp and strive and reach and push and force something, the more you wreck the flow of having it manifest anyway. Think of butterflies, cats, and women. You don't chase these things, because when you do, they flee. You just leave them be. Don't chase. Don't chase anything or anyone. And if someone makes you feel energetically that you need to chase them to secure their companionship or perpetuate your relationship with them, do yourself a huge favor. Cut them loose. Which means free yourself. Another thing I don't do is flatter. I don't flatter. I say what I mean what I say. if I truly admire somebody and I said so, it's because I'm being genuine. Occasionally I may speak that way to a guest. I mean every word of that. It's not flattery. I cringe at vain flattery. If I were to meet some whoever high profile person, whatever title, couldn't care less. I might smile and say, "Oh, it's nice to meet you," if I feel that it is nice to meet you, and then I would resonate the feeling of how I feel about who they're being. I could care less about titles, accolades, medals, trophies, awards, fame. Really couldn't care less. Here's one that I can also say was very, very hard one for me. I really earned this one. Being very attached to things. Now, it might be easy to say that you're not attached to some material possession, this or that, but you know that this one goes much deeper than that. And so the lesson that I'm learning, I continue to be learning with this one, is connected, not attached. Connected, not attached. I'll make an episode about that. But being very attached to things. And just remember that everything you have, to an extent, energetically, has you. So I've become much better in recent years at having what I have and not having what I don't have, and receiving when things come and letting go of when things go. But I would say that I'm probably not very likely to be a ghost who is attached, haunting a certain place or a certain object due to an inability to release attachment to it. Now, this, I might seem a little bit callous in the next two, or a little bit, can't think of the word, but I don't care. I will not wait, and I will not rush. Just no. If I go to a place, suppose that a friend and I went to some popular place we wanted to try, and oh, I'm sorry, but there's going to be a 40-minute wait. No, actually, there's not, because I'm leaving. I'm not going to stand there and wait. I am not the zombies who will camp out overnight for Black Friday, or stand in line for 12 blocks to get the next iPhone slave leash. No, can't be bothered. Don't do it. And on the other side of that coin is rushing. Oh, if you hurry up really quick, you get... No, it's okay. I'll just do without it. I'll let it pass. I'll not have it. Can't be bothered. I've learned to not rush. Now, I know there's exceptions where life says, no choice here, you will do this. I understand that. But again, all of these are to the best of my ability where I currently am. This one I am still working on, this next one, but I've very clearly seen its virtue. But no man is an island, so I don't know that I could ever do this 100%, and I'm not claiming to be doing so now, but I'm aspiring to do this one the best I can, which is I no longer expect anything from anyone, or depend on anyone for anything, or rely on anyone for anything. Now, I can think of someone who would be laughing to hear me say that. And here's to you. But, no man is an island, and we are all interdependent, and there is some, level of that we will not ever be able to escape. Even the remote cave-dwelling hermit, or sadhu or whatever, they are not generally totally independent and not dependent on anyone for anything. There is still a tether to others providing what they need. Saint Anthony the Great, who was the first Christian saint, and I guess you could say he was a hermit. He lived up in a tiny, well, I don't know if it was tiny, but he lived in a cave way up high on a cliff, where he lived alone with a bowl and a mat, that kind of thing, like a sadhu or a rishi. But he had assistance. He had a young man that would bring water and food to him every single day. You know, we are dependent on other people, but to the best of my ability, I try not to place myself in a position where I am expecting something from someone or needing them to respond or act or deliver in a certain way. I don't want to put myself in a position where somebody else has to do something to make my process complete. I hope I've explained that clearly. And the last part is kind of two parts. There's a general and then a specific. This one I have to admit with some reticence that I am still working on. I have a lot of work left to do on this. I've made a lot of progress, but there's still so much more to make. And that is the consumption of media and news. And you all know what I'm talking about. It is poison. And it's also fear porn and dread. And it's much of it is meant to evoke that in you because let's just say your negative emotions are fuel. Some of you will know what I'm talking about with that. So don't feed the archons. But in general, I'm not saying to stick your head in the ground and, you know, the ostrich or the the oyster in the sand, as Anuheya said, made me laugh so much. I'm not saying to just, you know, cut yourself off from all awareness of the world, though you wouldn't be missing a whole lot. But don't consume media. Don't get lulled or hypnotized into it because most of it is just pure poison. And on a specific level, I would suggest, and I don't mean to be you know, impolite or inappropriate in saying this, but what I have found is that cutting off all information about China in particular is probably a good thing because it's very hard to find anything that is helpful, positive, uplifting, and nourishing that is coming out from there that I would find in the news or YouTube or internet in general. It's just all poisonous and upsetting specifically. So that would be a specific within that general topic of the news and media in general. If I said that was the last one, I'm sorry. There's one more. I no longer engage, and this is a recent one that I'm very firm on it. I no longer engage in speculation, prediction, or prophecy. I don't want to hear it. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. That's a different topic. I'm talking about predictions, prophecies, and speculations about we think this is what's going to happen. Or I bet you it's going to turn out that way. Or that's because this thing was said thousands of years ago, and so everything has to go that way now. Okay, I'm not even saying that it's all false. I'm not even saying that it's all incorrect. What I am saying is that for me personally, in my life, what I have found, and you may also, or not, is that it is a massive energy drain that is fruitless almost 100% of the time. And at the end of the day, if every prophecy and prediction and speculation about the market and the politics and the environment and the global everything were 100% correct, you still need to devote all of your energy on you, tending your own garden. Be about the work of your soul. Amidst the fulfillment or the absolute incorrect, meaningless passing of all of these prophecies, speculations, and predictions. Tend your own garden. Be about the business of your soul. So that is the list of things that, to the very best of my ability, as much as I am able, I'm done with and I no longer do. I have enjoyed sharing them with you. I hope it has been meaningful. Perhaps you might share in the comments some other things that maybe I didn't cover that you've decided you're done with in your life and you no longer do. It would be interesting to see. Have a gentle and wonderful day.